Taya Jenkins is 10 years old when her sister is taken. Niven is never found, because no one knows where to look. No one but Taya, that is, who heard the whispers of the trees and saw the beautiful creatures that dwelled in the shadows. It is only after another tragedy, years later, that Taya finally dares to enter the forest that haunts her dreams, determined to bring home her sister and mend the fractured remains of her family. Beneath the whispering oaks, she meets Nathaniel, an outcast from the Sealy court, who tempts her away with veiled promises of the thing she's always longed for, to belong somewhere. But Nathaniel has secrets of his own, and Taya soon finds herself fighting not only for her life and for her sister, but also for her heart. Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. Today's video will be the first in a trilogy of videos covering the trilogy of books also known under the title The Wicked Woods Chronicles, written by Lydia V. Russell. Lydia is another author I've come to know somewhat more through her reputation than through first-hand experience of having read her books, given we follow each other on on Instagram and Twitter. I don't know if she has any other social media presence. She I think we just follow each other on Twitter, and then I think I've encountered her once on Instagram. Anyway, that's beside the point. The point is, she is a semi-prolific author grammar, as an author on Instagram, and she is a co-admin of the Fantasy Indies community, where authors of independent fantasy, or independent authors of fantasy books, and sometimes of books outside of the fantasy realm, talk about their creations through a variety of different perspectives. Given her pedigree, I thought I might as well look into her. Bibliography, starting with the first book of her trilogy, Darling, There Are Wolves in the Woods. The TLDW for this review is, I don't really know what to make of this book. There is a lot of movement going on within it, and yet a lot of it seems very wasteful, very unfocused. It doesn't really further or at least it doesn't obviously further the plot. One could argue that is in fact actually the point, that this book isn't really aiming to rush to the end of its plot, but it aims to explore and dwell and allow the readers to be immersed within the setting. And to the credit of the people with that interpretation, there is actually plenty of the setting to get immersed in. So if that is something you're interested in reading about, well, I'm not going to stop you from doing so. In fact, I could pretty much recommend you do. That being said, though, I can't really say that the other books in the trilogy have that same appeal. I can only say that this one has. Okay, now with that disclaimer out of the way, it's time I get into the deeper dive. The plot of this book follows Taya, I assume that's how the name is spoken, a young lady from a broken family. One that has seen the loss of, first of all, a daughter, second of all, a father. And its surviving members, or rather its members that are still together, have learned to live together in a stage of unconsumed and undissolvable grief. Taya decides to venture into the woods where her sister was lost in an effort to recover her. The synopsis, I think, gives a hint towards the initial venture being Taya's idea, but really the book neither confirms nor denies it. If anything, it hints that it might have been Niven's idea, but I'm not going to go into the details on that. That's just one possible interpretation, my own. During her adventure, she encounters Nathaniel, one of the fairies that was present when Niven Tea's sister was first taken away from her, and one who will have a decisive impact on the way her rescue efforts will play out. That sounds like a pretty interesting plot, wouldn't you say? I have to say, I thought the same way when I first started reading for this book. But within the first quarter of the book, Lydia decides to abandon that adventure plotline and instead introduce a romance between Thea and Nathaniel. A romance that she then reveals is actually built on false pretenses. So yeah, congratulations, Lydia. You swept the rug from under your readers and really didn't do and really soured the investment that they did give they did actually spend within this book. And I think she knew she started that because throughout the rest of the book, when the adventure plot resumes, she still tries to write the romance plot alongside it, and trying to further the romance that she already revealed is built upon false pretenses, trying to prove that there is actually something more going on within that dynamic. She can tell herself that that's actually what's going on, but personally I remain unconvinced. I really don't see enough development going on within this romance and between these two people to where I can genuinely say that I believe their romance, or that I am invested in their romance. Unfortunately, to Lydia's credit, though, there are two positives I really want to mention here. First of all, she is quite adept at merging the adventure and romance plots within the second half of the book. When she decides that this is the path she wants her story to go down. Shame she couldn't decide that about a third earlier in the book. And the second thing I want to praise her for is the attention she actually gives to her the character arcs of her two leads. Tea's in particular really stands out for the way she manages to play around with the want-need divide that is typical of character arcs. Nathaniel's arc, by contrast, is a little bit more conventional. He starts out this book as a pretty typical mischievous fairy, a being who is looking to have fun, especially at the expense of others, and can become violent when his prospects of entertainment get taken away from him. There is something alluring but also dangerous about him. He is in that sense a character very similar to with a very similar appeal to that of Peter Pan, but for a different demographic. Lydia tries to break him away from that trope of being a mischievous fairy, and she mainly does that through two avenues. First of all, by giving him someone to care for, and second of all, by revealing a backstory that runs somewhat counter to this initial impression that she has built up of him. It is a pretty interesting concept, but I think the character work and I think his character arc is done moderately well, but there really isn't enough about his backstory or about the inner workings of his mind presented within this book that really makes me that really makes me invested in his development as a character, or in the relationship that he is still clinging on to. And there really should have been more. I really would have wanted to have more to delve into, but Lydia doesn't provide that. And that is the general impression I'm left with with this book, because it is absolutely dripping with atmosphere, and the world that it builds, that it expands upon, that it creates, presents within its pages is very expansive, and you always get the impression that there could be something fresh and interesting right behind the next corner, right as you turn the next page. But she doesn't know how to. But she really doesn't have the best ideas of how to fill up this world. She doesn't really know how to how to get her readership invested in the setting, because it just existing isn't enough. There should also be something for the readers to catch up on and to find interesting, which unfortunately I do not see here. It might be if you're interested in just some light reading for powering down or something like that. This might, however, be the book for you. I'm not gonna take that away from you. Overall, while I am somewhat disappointed by the minimal developments that are present within this book, the breadcrumbs it does lay out are still capable of holding my interest and of piquing my curiosity. I still do intend to read the rest of the trilogy. For now, however, my final rating for Darling, There Are Wolves in the Woods, the first book in the Wicked Woods Chronicles, is a 3 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, then please leave a like and maybe even share this video wherever you think other people will like it as well. If you have anything you'd like to add to the review or to the book itself, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My own book, Heir to the Empire Next Generation, is available at most major book retailers under a master link in the description down below, right past all of my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. Until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.